was dead when I went to turn it on today. Hey, we're live!
Hey!
Ignore the technical difficulties. Okay. I think we're good to go. Do you guys think we're good to go?
Roger.
Fred.
Sit there with blank stares if you think we're ready to go. Okay, cool. Welcome to the Iron Sysadmin podcast, your source for IT news, commentary, and a healthy dose of paranoia. Welcome indeed to the Iron Sysadmin podcast. That sounds redundant, doesn't it? Is that redundant? We're all about redundancy, though, aren't we?
Yeah. This is the redundant Department of Redundancy.
If anybody didn't hear the intro, they also got an intro. See, it's perfect.
Covered.
So, as usual, I am your host, Nate, and joining me are two of the now four co-hosts. We've got Jason and Dustin.
Hola.
Hola.
Apparently, we're all speaking Spanish tonight. I don't know Spanish, guys.
Sí, señor.
I didn't even watch any Dora, even though I have two little girls.
Then you didn't hear the news.
What news is that?
They're doing a live action Dora the Explorer.
Live action? Are they going to hand out like any type of like tripping foods?
I'm not kidding.
You're not who are they casting as Dora?
That's already been determined too. Hang on, I'll find it.
It's going to be hilarious.
Hand out like
it's like if it's like some pasty white blonde girl. It's Hollywood.
Some poor bastard wearing a backpack costume, having to stay flipped up the entire time.
Isabella Moner, Moner, Monet, Moner, whatever the hell that is. And Diego's going to be in it too.
Oh God,
good.
What about the map? Where's the map? It's all about the map.
There's going to be some dude in a map costume that dances around.
I don't know. I saw. If I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. There was a little short that somebody put together that was like a badass Dora that was hysterical.
Yeah, they call it Tomb Raider.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like that, but it was all Dora based. It was It was really funny.
I may have seen this. I don't remember.
There is a Dora the Explorer metal version, by the way.
Perfect.
The backpack song.
Perfect. Did you guys see that Frog Leap Studios covered What Does the Fox Say?
Really?
Yes. I would play it, but we'll probably get sued or something.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. You guys, anyone listening who thought that song was ridiculous when it was out and popular, you should go listen to the metal version. It's much, much, much better.
Maybe it'll be in Slack.
I think
you won't know unless you join our Slack channel.
I think Jason's looking it up right now.
So I found the Dora the Explorer movie trailer.
He was looking for Dora.
Ariel Winter. This is the badass one. It's pretty cool.
Okay, well, maybe you should. Is it safe enough to include in the show notes?
I don't care.
You don't care? Okay, well,
yes,
put it.
Of course.
Oh, the college humor one you're talking about, Jay.
Announced.
Oh, now that explains it.
Is that safe? Yes. Yes, I think it is. Oh, there. Now it's in the show notes.
Well, good.
And for those playing along at home, I'll put it in the YouTube thing too.
Oh, right. Because you guys should all be watching us live.
Yes. Well, they are.
And then you would get this. You would actually have this right now because he just pasted it right now. It's there.
Yep.
So
totally there.
Go get the link. But then if they click the link, it will take them away from the show. So don't click it till we're done recording.
You could right-click it and open it in a new window.
Oh, but then the sound will get all mudged up. It'll have us talking over the badass Dora.
If only there were pause buttons.
Are you suggesting they pause the show? The live show? They'll miss something. Drink your beer. Anyway, I think we should probably start talking about the news. Do you guys like pie?
It depends on the pie.
It depends on what kind of pie.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't particularly like Johnny Five's pie.
In this case, it is digital pie produced by Android. Because it's Android P time. But that's not.
Yay. Android P time. Is that going to be the new game?
That sounded
The
absolutely.
hidden game under the About section, the Android P.
So this is Android P. Pathetic, right?
No, Pi. Because they couldn't use peppermint or something. Pi.
Totally working.
You're killing me.
Wow.
Woo.
I haven't even drank that much of my beer yet. This is great. All right. So the new version of Pi, of Android P.
Gonna drum roll, do we?
Right. So I want to make sure that we're aware, because there's 5 new things here.
Well, there's more than 5, I'm sure. These are the top 5 that the
top
Hacker
5.
News has decided to cover.
Top 2 Android P features. P stands for AI.
Oh yeah, Pi, like PAI.
Yeah, it's Pi, like pie.
Hey.
Because everybody needs an AI-powered adaptive battery.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, okay. So I will say.
Start with the battery.
So I mean, I'm going to sound sort of like Jason for a moment. I installed the Android P beta about a month and a half ago. Not because I wanted to be bleeding edge and have my phone crash all the time, but because I was having a bug related to Bluetooth, and I wanted to see if Android 9 fixed it. And it did! Because in Android 8, 8.1, I think it was, Google totally revamped the Bluetooth system and broke everything!
Was that because of the rewrite for all the Oracle legality?
I have no idea. I didn't dig that deeply into it. All I know is I got the Android 8.1 update in like March, and then every time my phone would try to pair to my car stereo, only my car stereo, nothing else. You know, the thing that I use Bluetooth for the most ever, it would crash Bluetooth.
And at least it didn't crash your car.
Because it was Android, everybody kind of went, oh crap, Bluetooth's broke. Oh well, and went on with life.
No, people were up in arms over this.
As opposed to Apple, where they'd burn the fucking world down.
Yeah, well, that's because Apple users are, well, never mind.
Ooh. Wow. Wow. Damn.
No, so what really burns me up is Google knew about the problem. Several of us reported it to them. I reported it to them. I had like a support session and everything. First time I've ever had to use support for my Android
Did they tell you to
device.
refer to their support forum?
I went to the support forum and found a guy that had the same problem, and we had like expert advice from Google people, and they're telling us stuff like, "Oh, did you try wiping your cache and completely erasing your phone?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wiped all my cache when I bought your phone
3 times. God damn it!
So you know what doesn't burn up Nate anymore? The battery, because it's AI powered now.
It's totally AI powered. No, so anyway,
amazing.
All that to say that I have been using the AI adapted power, battery, since like a month and a half ago.
And how do you feel?
Funnily enough, there was a bug in the beta that it was working, but not properly, so it was eating up the battery faster.
Well, I mean, there is an expense when it comes to computing.
But I got a preview of what it was supposed to do, and one of the cool things it does, like, I don't know how Apple handles this, but when you're using the battery on your phone heavily, it doesn't care. It just chews up the battery until you get to whatever your alert threshold is, which is like 15% or 10% or whatever, right? Does Apple handle that differently?
Hardcore.
Well, no, I mean, does Apple handle that differently? Does it just like, it gets to 15% and then it says, hey, your battery's running low?
You have low power mode, yeah. 20%,
yeah.
I think it is. Right?
It does it at 20% and again at 10.
So what the AI powered adaptive battery does is it figures out, like, you're using your battery more heavily than you normally do. And because of that, I'm going to give you a power estimation, even though you're at like 45% of your battery. I'm going to give you a power estimation that says, if you keep using the battery this way, it's going to die at this point. Like, you've got 2 hours left, right? Which to me is a lot more useful than, oh crap, my phone's at 15%. It's been in my pocket all day. I didn't even realize it. I'm nowhere near my charger. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, it's different. I don't think anybody else does it, right? That I know of.
Cool. No idea. I can go a day on a charge on my phone, so I don't really worry.
Yeah,
about it.
and before I installed the beta, I was getting about a day out of my Android too. And that was because it was one of the like when you installed the beta, they said, hey, we're still working on the battery thing. There's a glitch. It's going to eat up your battery faster. So it wasn't like an unknown. It was like, hey, this is a warning. You're going to have to live with this. But I knew it was supposed to come out in August, so I figured I'd live with it for the month and a half to see if it fixed the Bluetooth thing. And it did. Anyway. Cool. AI-powered adaptive brightness. This I have no idea what it's about because I don't know. It's the brightness on my phone.
Yeah, so it's I read it a little bit and I sort of get it. So I don't know how Android does it, but on an iPhone you have the adaptive brightness where when it's I forget which way it goes, and when it's bright out it goes one way, and when it's dark out it goes the other way.
Yeah, it goes to that like sepia or whatever, where it's got like that yellow tint to it, so it's supposed to not burn out your eyes.
This is brightness, which I think is what the article's talking about, isn't it? Brightness.
See, they give you like one sentence that says Android 9 Pie also comes with new auto brightness algorithm. So you're right, it does say brightness. But what I can say from using it, what it does is when it gets dark enough outside. So there's all these studies that say blue light will energize
like shift mode. Yeah,
it'll energize your brain. Right.
This is supposed to be brightness.
It tints the screen and it dims it.
Oh, whatever.
So it does both. I don't know if they're two separate features. Maybe.
Yeah, to me it seemed like it was a brightness thing where like if I go into a bright room or I go outside with my phone and I have the automatic brightness on, it'll like it changes the brightness of the phone automatically.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. The first thing I do when I get a phone is turn it off because it's stupid. But
I don't know that I've noticed it.
This looks like they added AI to it. I'm pretty sure they just took a common feature, put AI in front of it, and said new, and put it on the list.
Could be. App actions, which apparently it tries to predict what app you're going to need to use next, which is scary.
Machine.
Yeah. So what I actually find interesting is that my iPhone has been doing this. And I don't remember this being a feature that was coming out. And I wonder if it's the same thing. So like depending on the time of day, if I go to the quick search to jump to an app, the apps I typically use during that time of the day show.
So mine in my app drawer, you see these two like gray things at the top? I don't know if you can see those up at the top there. There's two little gray boxes. They feature two apps that it thinks I'm going to use. And I don't know, either it's very dumb or it knows something I don't, because there are two things I wasn't thinking about using at all.
Or it's suggesting to you, like Microsoft with their updates. Oh, you want Witch Saga 3?
Right. Like one of them. One of them is a phone call. Like
maybe I do want Witch Saga 3. What is that?
You do.
Is it a game?
Maybe you do.
Let me click on it.
Let me click on it and see what Witch Saga. It's going to be another Bubble Popper game, man, or Candy Crush. Witch Saga.
I like Bubble Popper games. What? I don't understand. This is great.
It came up. Oh, sorry, Jason.
Slices is the same deal, where it's supposed to give you useful information based on what you're looking for, which is something Google search has been doing forever.
Yeah, everybody's been doing that, so that doesn't sound new.
Yeah, the security and privacy thing is basically goes into they're starting to do DNS over TLS, which I think we talked about on the show not long ago.
Did we?
Yeah, we did, not specifically on Android, but it was a browser feature that was coming to Firefox, was it?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever. Okay, cool. Protect all the things.
Yeah, and TLS by default. I don't know how exactly that works, but whatever.
They're also introducing a new gesture-based system navigation. So, I mean, does that mean because if you flip off your phone, it does certain things?
Yeah, right. I actually just heard about that today via like a tweet or something, and it sounded ridiculous. Why would I want to use gestures to control my phone when there's buttons to do everything I need? Someone also compared it to Apple. They said Apple's doing the same thing.
Well,
so do you use that on your Apple devices?
Well, the iPhone X has gestures because they got rid of the home button. So, like, in order to
maybe that's what it is then.
You have to use a gesture. I don't have an iPhone X.
Okay.
So I could.
Why not? Are you Apple guys supposed to stand in line every time a new one comes out?
I like the main.
Yeah, I like the Touch ID personally, but that's just me.
You don't want to unlock it with your face.
I don't really think of the gestures as like
all the cool guys use their face.
You know how like you use two fingers to scroll on your touchpad? Like that's the sort of stuff they're talking about with gestures. So it's like this has existed forever.
Yeah.
On the phones. I'm not sure what's new.
So anyway, we've talked about Android. They go on about how you can get Android 9, which for me was a simple matter of my phone said, "Hey, Android 9's available," and I said, "Yep, go ahead."
Yeah, that's because you have a Google.
It's because I have a Pixel.
You have vanilla, which is nice.
If you've got anything other than a Pixel, good luck. I have no idea when you'll get it.
I think step 1 is to shoot yourself in the face.
Yeah.
Then smash your phone on the ground.
Then either go buy a Pixel or give up and buy an iPhone.
Pretty much.
What about BlackBerry? Or I mean, BlackBerry.
Sorry, what's that? You cut out.
You're gonna put Android on your BlackBerry?
Oh, you're talking about BlackBerry now?
I think they run Android now, don't they?
Do they still exist? I mean,
yeah. They keep
all I
coming
know
out
is
with
between
press releases.
Yeah.
Between the pre-show and that one article, I finished my first beer, and it's time for another one.
What are we drinking?
I am drinking a Trogs Java Head Stout, and it is
very good. I have a Game of Thrones Valar de Harris. Belgian triple.
I have a million-year-old aged water.
Dust?
Water. I mean, water's good for me. I probably should be drinking water, but this is Iron Sysadmin. I got to drink a beer.
Well, no, wait. You're not breastfeeding. You should be able to drink. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So discussions about how to pronounce this company aside.
Miko.
There's Mikrotik. They are Russian, aren't they? Didn't they say Russian?
Microtic.
Microtic.
Are they?
I thought it was foreign. No, Latvian. Latvian network hardware provider, Microtik.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think it was Russian.
Anyway. Oh, it's Latvian. Also from the Hacker News, there is apparently I don't know if you call it a worm, but there is a botnet, which is utilizing a flaw in the Microtik or Microtic firmware on several what were they, wireless devices? Campaign exploding hundreds of thousands of Microtik routers. Oh, routers. So these aren't like necessarily home routers. These could be like full-on routers. Jason, you're our network guy. Unmute. Say something.
Mute is hard to find sometimes. So Microtik has been around for many, many, many years. I first encountered it like 10 plus years ago when I was working for a wireless ISP. It was like the routing OS of choice. They're like very much a homebrew type setup. So there were what were essentially, I mean, now it's basically a Beagle board, but back then it was this much larger, more expensive piece of hardware that you would throw in a box, and you put the Microtic firmware on it.
Microtik.
It would do the wireless piece of it, and it did routing, and it was fairly advanced. I think it had RIP, OSPF. It may have done BGP.
So it's not the 1800s.
It had a like an N-curses style interface. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't very polished at the time either. I don't know what it is now, but it's actually I see it kind of popping up on the NANOG list every once in a while.
Well, I mean,
it seems like it's getting more traction.
Now it's mining cryptocurrency, so your router can make you money by mining cryptocurrency. Oh, but it's doing it for somebody else.
Well, it's like virtualization. You have to utilize that downtime, right? You have the
right.
There. Why not?
Right. I mean, personally, I feel like if I could leverage all of the spare CPU cycles just in my house to make me money, this seems like a great idea.
Why not?
Like if my cell phone were crunching away at cryptocurrency while I wasn't on the phone or browsing Facebook, then that
Thanks
seems
to AI.
Thanks to AI.
That's the app action. Yeah.
Wow, I haven't seen this stuff in a while. They went really upscale with this. It's actually looks like a router now.
Is it gold now?
No, it's got a case and everything. It used to be bare boards. I don't.
Oh, really? It was bare boards.
It was bare boards. You'd buy the bare board.
Take it on a shelf and wrap it in electrical tape.
No, you put it in a You put it in a sealed box that you
like
then
cardboard box.
No. All right.
Cardboard box. Yeah.
That's it. I'm done with yous. I'm going back to drinking.
All right. So if you've got a microtik or microtik or microtic router, you may want to check and see if it's mining cryptocurrency for somebody else.
I give up.
Go ahead, give up. Hey, you guys both have children. Maybe not so applicable to Dustin just yet. Did you know that children learn better when they're actually involved in a thing instead of just watching videos about that thing?
Did you know that I can't get anything done when I'm like trying to teach the children? So if I put them in front of the TV, I've got all this free time.
Yeah, no, I get that. So, I mean, I included this article mainly because part of it is like no freaking duh. And the other part of it is I still feel like there's value to screen learning. And I don't know, I just thought we could chat about, back and forth there. So, I mean, the example they give, so first of all, this is from Slashdot. The example they give is like, you can learn more about horse riding from actually horse riding than you can watching a video about horse riding.
I bullshit. I'm calling a car bullshit.
What?
There's so many YouTube videos on how to ride a horse. If I watch them all, I'll be an expert by the time I'm done.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I can completely see where they're coming from. It's like, no duh, right? So if I watch a video about soccer, I'm not going to be a soccer pro just because I watched the World Cup.
You don't have to worry about exercising.
Right. I need to like go out and play soccer and practice and be good at it.
Well, no.
But on the other side, the thing I'm worried about with this particular viewpoint is like there are things that you can absolutely learn by watching a video or by watching instruction, right? And that would be like theory or like your alphabet or your colors or whatever. Right? So
so there's a whole set of people that are learning how to play instruments by watching YouTube videos. They don't go to instructors anymore. Now, granted,
well, sure.
I learned
you have the instrument and you learn how to play it.
They don't watch a video on how to play a flute and then walk into an orchestra and say, I'm an expert flute player, and sit down and start playing.
Right.
They watch videos about how to play a flute, and then they try to play the flute to match what the video did. So that's the same thing, right? It's like if I go to the soccer field with my laptop and I watch videos on how to play soccer and then I try it out in the field, like I'm still engaged in doing that.
Yeah, I wonder if this is they're more talking about the difference between interactive learning, where you can interact with the teacher and you can sort of choose your own adventure, if you will, as opposed to just watching a video that is going to be the same every time and doesn't change. Because I mean, I'll fine, watching a video and not being able to ask questions of the video and get feedback.
Oh yeah, well that's a different case. But like, like for children that are learning basics, like it's really easy to learn some basic things like simple math and numbers and colors and shapes and letters. Like that's a very easy thing that you can learn from watching videos that are static. But you're right. Once you get to more advanced things where the brain is going to say, but that doesn't make sense to me, I need more help, or that poses this other question in my head and I want to hear more, that's different.
Well, especially if you talk about like the kinesiology, right? Like how you would move your body. Like you talk about watching soccer videos or people play soccer and they can learn how to, they can be an expert and play soccer. Well, they really can't. I mean, they may understand the rules, they may understand the basis of the game, they may understand all these things, but they don't know how to put those skill sets to play when it comes to moving their body around. So yeah, I could see the balance there.
My point is, I think that like this article points out something that I thought was common sense. You can't be a professional at something that is physical by watching people do the physical thing in videos.
Well, see, here's where I think I understand where they're coming at. So let me read this. Human beings learn their eyes, yes, but also their ears, nose, mouth, skin, hearts, hands, and feet. So what I'm thinking is if we can start incorporating things like scratch and sniff, and like taste with the computer screen,
Ooh.
then I think we'll be, you know.
Jason, I hate to let you
what we
down,
need,
but go ahead.
I was going to say what we need is fully immersive VR, and that solves all this.
Well, you know, you got to remember, somebody may come around and make it for ethical purposes, but what is the internet really about, guys? What has it always been about?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's
Tell
absolutely
what
where this is
I know.
gonna go.
RenderMan. RenderMan's been testing this stuff for a long time.
RenderMan would be on top of that. He'd be like, "Yep, let's see what this is about."
Should we interview RenderMan while we're at Derbycon?
That would be awesome.
That would
have him on the show.
Kind of awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure we could. He loves talking about the project.
We'll have to put an explicit tag on the show.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you're below 18, don't watch this show.
Maybe we can make a special derby for him on site.
We'll name the show. We can call the show Iron Dongs.
We're not going there. Not going there. All right. So yeah, people learn better by doing than they do from watching. Just imagine that. Speaking of screens, and I mean, did you ever feel like when you played a video game, you could then become an expert, say, at firing a Gatling gun?
You're stretching, man. This is, I mean, points for trying to come up with a good transition, but
yeah.
Wow.
No, I think it's related. It's not quite a learning thing. Well, I don't know.
They call them murder simulators.
Murder simulators. All right.
Yes. Okay.
So several episodes back, we talked about people were so desperate to get Fortnite on their Android devices that they were downloading malware-infested versions of Fortnite, or maybe not even versions of Fortnite. They were just flat out malware. So
anybody create that stuff, Nate? I don't know what you're talking about.
I had to include this article when I came across it. And this is again from the Hacker News. It's almost like I only read the Hacker News because it's short and concise and seems to cover all the topics I care about.
TLDR, got it.
Yeah. So anyway, Fortnite, which if you don't know, is a very popular game. A lot of kids are playing it nowadays, and they want to be able to play it on mobile. So in the last article we talked about, we said, somebody had released an APK of Fortnite for Android, which was really just malware, or maybe it was the game with malware. I don't remember.
Didn't so now screw you.
So now, yeah, right here you can play the game, but we're gonna put malware on your phone. So
we're gonna mine some Bitcoin.
Now the folks who produce Fortnite have made what I think is the most ridiculous move they could have possibly made. They are finally releasing Fortnite for Android, which is cool. Great. You can put Fortnite on your phone or your tablet or your whatever. Good luck running it, because just like Jason said on the last episode we talked about this, it seems like a pretty intensive game, and I can't imagine a mobile device playing it well, but whatever. They must have figured that out. Maybe they dumbed the graphics down or something. I don't know. Mobile phones are maybe more powerful than I thought, which would lend credence to my Bitcoin mining on my phone. They're not releasing it via the Play Store. Now, I assume on iOS that's a requirement, correct? You Android folks or Apple folks? You aren't supposed to be able to install. You're not supposed to be able to install.
You remember Humble Bundle before they were officially released? Didn't they? I know on Android you had to install an unofficial app. I don't remember if you had to do the same on the iPhone side, because I think I was Android at that point.
iPhone apps come through the store.
And that's right?
There are ways to sideload, but it's not scalable.
And that's if you jailbreak it, right? I mean, that's the...
Yeah, I thought you had a jailbreak to do that.
No,
like Apple had designed it so you could...
You can sideload developer software, right? So you can sideload an app on an iPhone, but it's like a developer type setup where it doesn't come out of the App Store. It comes directly through
sandbox
Xcode. So, but it's not scalable. You can't just you only get so many licenses or certificates or whatever the hell it is to do.
So on Android, it's a lot simpler. There's just you enable developer mode, which is really easy to do as long as you know how to do it.
Question: Is developer mode enabled the same way like it used to be? Tap the version 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, it used to just be a checkbox. You just went in and said, "Yeah, I'm a developer. Turn this on." Now it's a little hidden. You have to know the right little dance to do to get it turned on, but it's still ridiculously easy. It's easy to find how to do it online. So once you have developer mode on, you can turn on a feature that lets you install unknown sources. And that is essentially what Epic Games wants you to do in order to run Fortnite on your phone. This is ridiculous. And they claim it's because, all right, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. Let's see. First, right. So they say their first reason for doing this is because offering Fortnite via an APK download directly from its official website will allow the company to have a direct relationship with its customers. Like, I mean, I don't understand the real the real benefit there. It means that people are gonna have to go out of their way to find your app, not just go to the Play Store like everyone has told them they're supposed to do to get your app. And second, they say since Google takes 30% of the cut of the revenue each time a user makes an in-app purchase through its Play Store, the decision will allow the company to save millions, or by save millions they mean make millions. So
yeah, pretty much.
These don't seem like good reasons to me. Like, I get it. You don't want to give Google a cut of your ad revenue. Fine. I don't know. Charge for the goddamn game. Right? If you're that concerned with making money on the game, charge $10 for it. People are going to buy it.
Oh yeah, or have in-app purchases if they don't already. I don't know if they do.
That's what they're talking about. Well, I don't know. I guess it's ad revenue. Cut of revenue each time a user makes an in-app purchase. Yeah, so in-app purchases, Google takes a 30% cut, which does seem a little steep to me.
A little bit. That's worse than a credit card processor.
It just seems like you're going about this wrong, guys.
Did you read about coaches?
Maybe. I mean,
maybe.
You know, let them roll with it and see what happens. I mean,
if
something tells me that mobile phone sales are not going to be that high anyway. So
if you wanted to install a mobile phone
app, probably right.
If you wanted to install anything on your phone, whether it's a productivity app, a game, whatever, and you went to the store for your particular platform and you searched for it and you didn't find it, what would you do?
Stop.
I would assume it doesn't exist.
Right, exactly. I just stop. Okay.
Because it's not like go turn on developer options, enable unknown sources, and then install this game is not a thing that users are trained to think is okay.
You know what I would try, actually? I would also try looking at the publisher. If they had other games on the market, the store, whatever,
yeah,
I would click on what's produced by that publisher, because maybe I'm entering the wrong name. I mean, that's...
Right. But you still wouldn't find it in this case.
No.
Because it's not there.
Right. Does not compute. 404 not found.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think they're making a mistake here.
Time will tell.
All overagreed. All right, our last news entry for the night, and this is Jason's article, which is it's hilarious. It's just hilarious. You want to cover it, Jason, or did you?
Yeah. So you guys have heard of this electronic voting thing, right? Like they have these
it's the cats but meow.
Yeah, and they're not hackable, and they're perfect, and they're always right, and you know everything's great.
An 8-year-old didn't break into it.
So
nice.
Georgia happens to use these, and
Georgia.
Yeah, so I guess back in their primary election back in May, they did really well. They had a 243% turnout.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, so many precincts have trouble getting people to come out to the polls. These guys did so well; they had more than 100% of the people show up. That's
awesome. Should follow their lead.
Yeah, they have let's see. According to this, they have 276 registered voters, and they cast 670 ballots.
Wow! With numbers that small, you'd think this would be an easy thing to figure out.
Yeah,
it's like I have 12 people and 48 people register. 48 people cast ballots. Yeah, yep. Like it's pretty easy to notice that people have repeated.
Yeah, and they defended the hell out of it. Oh no, there's nothing wrong with it. So
how? I mean, I didn't read the article in depth, but there must be some reason they think this makes sense, or maybe they're just complete morons. I don't know.
They probably entered the wrong number of voters in the district or whatever.
Yeah, Yeah, right. There's actually like 1,000 people, and 670 ballots was actually really piss poor.
Right.
Wait, was it an issue with a button not being labeled correctly? Like it was just too easy to click?
I don't know. I have seen many
something that happened not too long ago.
I have seen so many videos of people hacking voting machines. As a matter of fact, I happen to know how old is she? 10? 10-year-old girl?
10. 10? Is she 10 now?
I don't know. Nate, how old is Heve's daughter?
11. 11.
Is she 11 now?
Oh wow.
So this was I think over the last year. So she was either 10 or 11. And
or is she 12 now? And she can
hack.
She recently celebrated a birthday, and I remember him making a big deal about it being her last binary birthday. I don't remember if that's because she left 11 or if because she came 11, but she's 11 or 12.
Yeah. Anyway, she hacks voting machines.
I mean, you're not making a good case, guys. If you knew this girl, you wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's irrelevant, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's possible, and a child is doing it. So yeah. Turns out system's not so secure.
She's an above-average child.
Yeah. Oh, she definitely is.
Possible. Oh, yeah. The fact that it's possible is really the point here, not the fact that little girl could do it.
Yeah, she is actually in Vegas right now, and she is giving not one but 2 talks at DEF CON.
That's insane, right?
Pretty cool.
Just insane. All right, that covers the news. So we have to do this.
The button.
I need to go back to a headset with the microphone on it on a boom so that when I do this, you guys don't hear me go all echoey. I turn my head to look at the soundboard or the mixer.
Sound mixer board type of thing? Got it.
Yeah. It's usually up here in front of me, but the battery was dead. Because, I prepare for these. I am uber prepared for these shows when they start. So much so that my soundboard's battery was dead.
It's a challenge.
So yeah, that was I had to move it over here because the cord that I have it plugged in with wouldn't reach where I normally have it. What are you adding to the notes? An IMDb entry?
Yes.
Is this for the Dora the Explorer thing?
Yes.
You ruined the bullets. What do you do? No.
Wait, who's the blue guy? Because he's a moron. I see.
Now it's totally broken now. Oh. Dustin, don't drink water.
Aching. I fixed it.
No, you didn't.
Womp womp.
No,
don't drink water in Google Doc.
I fixed it. Okay.
Congratulations.
Jeez. Oh, did you? Did you? How's that?
What did you do to the?
I'm gonna get removed from this doc.
Guys, don't let Dustin into your Google Doc. I'll have a drink though. Okay. So tonight we were supposed to have another host. That's why I mentioned that at the beginning of the. Do not delete the.
I did nothing.
Okay, you highlighted it all. I was waiting for it to all vanish while I was talking. We were supposed to have a third co-host, another person tonight. Dustin has gone dark. But unfortunately, he got pulled away because he's fighting with PHP FPM. You may remember we had a guest on the show 2 months ago, maybe. He talked about WordPress. His name was Charles, coworker of mine. He's going to be joining us on a more regular basis. That's part of the reschedule that we did. But like I said, he got pulled away, so he couldn't be here tonight. So he bailed on us.
Yeah. Dustin and I aren't exactly reliable, so Nate said the hell with us, and he's going to get.
But you're both here tonight. The first time we're recording on our new scheduled time, on our new scheduled night, and you're both here. So that's promising.
Yep. And the new Mr. Reliable is where's he? Oh, that's right. He's not here.
Right. That's
darn.
Sorry, Charles.
That's okay. We'll bail on. We'll all bail next time. It'll just be him, not even Nate. He'll do it all himself.
I don't think anybody would want to tune in for that. Who would correct me when I say the wrong thing? So by the way, we'll probably have a lot of that when Charles joins us. Correcting me, that is. He's good at that. So the other thing I was going to chat about, and this comes from a group of folks I'm going to talk about later, but AUG Camp, maybe some of you have heard of this, is I haven't really looked that deeply into it, but it's like an open source event happening in the UK. So if we have any listeners in near Sheffield in the UK, geography is not my strong point, but that's what it said on the site.
It's across the pond.
It's across the pond.
Yes.
On August 18th and 19th. You should go check out AUG Camp. Apparently, one of the hosts of the Admin podcast is one of the organizers of AUG Camp. So that's pretty cool.
Cool.
So we're going to talk about them a little bit too, a little bit later. So Hacker Mecca, I guess you guys are referring to DEF CON, whoever added this?
Jason.
Yeah, so it's DEFCON / Black Hat / B-Sides Las Vegas /
Who knows what else?
debauchery / insanity
/ con.
gambling. Yeah. So
I wonder if anyone's going to get arrested this year.
Yeah, he's already there.
He's there. I noticed that. He said he was going. I'm like, what the?
He was hanging with Deviant and Tara.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
That's
Such a popular guy.
malware.
Malware tech.
Malware tech.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Marcus
yeah.
whatever.
So Hacker Mecca is happening. So if you're in Vegas, I apologize in advance for the fact that all of your data has been stolen and that your phones are being used to mine crypto.
Right.
Gone are the days of jokes. Serious cash generation processes only.
Sure.
Unless certain people show up and totally destroy DefCoin before it ever launches.
Yep.
Is Dustin going to be there?
Yep. Probably. He's probably already there.
Probably.
So,
shenanigans.
Oh,
Shenanigans.
yeah. I'm ready for my rear view.
Rear
review.
Yeah, what I'm really curious about is what he's going to do if we're not at the Hyatt for Derbycon. Where's he going to launch his stuffed animals with parachutes from?
Yeah, I mean, the paddling won't stop, but the parachute, the random hanging underwear.
I mean, the paddling can happen anywhere, really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wonder if his elevator key will work. I mean, he doesn't have an elevator key.
He totally didn't have an elevator key, but I'm sure if he did, he'd have one for the Marriott too.
Indeed.
So anyway, you added links, I guess, for the Dora stuff. That's in the announcement section. I don't know why that's an announcement, but there it is.
You just announced it worked.
Some videos.
What's that?
I hereby announce that there's some videos. It's in the show notes. Whatever. Go read.
Totally in the show notes. All right. So you guys been up to anything cool? No. Dustin's been like, I have to raise an infant, and it sucks.
No, it's not bad. It's just sleep deprivation. I'm not very useful when I don't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna refrain from comment.
No, he's not.
Oh, hey, we didn't talk about Microsoft's rumor.
What's that?
Desktop as a service. Did you hear about this?
No.
Microsoft is either going to talk about it in their fiscal year announcement, which is going to be October, when they talk about the new Office 2019, or they're going to talk about it next year about desktop as a service for Windows, the replacement of Windows 10.
Are we talking about like cloud VDI?
No, we're talking about the licensing. The license that you own when you buy a new piece of hardware, you will not own. You will have to pay a subscription. Now, that either means you pay a subscription to get updates or new versions, or you pay a subscription to use it. Knowing Microsoft, I'm sure it'll be a heist to upgrade to that version, but
I knew this day would come. That's all there is to it. Microsoft can't make enough money on upgrades, so they're going to have to charge you monthly for it.
Yes, but if you're an Office 365 customer, you get a free license of Exchange server. Just throwing that out there, to make management easier. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole tonight.
That sounds like weird.
Yeah, but you can't get the operating system for free to run it.
Right.
Aha!
Well, they assume if you're running Office 365 or using Office 365, you're probably already a Windows user.
But they assume that. You don't have to be.
Yeah. Because if you weren't, you'd be running LibreOffice or Google Docs.
You can run it on a Mac. You just can't run it on Linux yet without Wine or some other...
Yeah, but who would want to go to that much trouble to run
email
Office
service
on Linux?
Compatibility, many reasons.
No, there's not. LibreOffice works just fine.
I like LibreOffice. It's come a long way.
Yeah. You remember the old days of Star Office?
Nope.
You don't remember Star Office?
No, sorry.
Jason, you remember Star Office, don't you?
Jason's on mute.
Why is mute so hard to find sometimes?
I
Yes.
don't know why you keep muting yourself.
Star Office was before LibreOffice, before OpenOffice.
Yeah, so I want to say that Star Office
like Oracle, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was run by Sun. I don't think Oracle owned them yet. It was owned by Sun. So Star Office, I believe, branched into OpenOffice. OpenOffice was part of the Oracle acquisition, wasn't it?
Probably.
I'm trying to remember the reason LibreOffice spun off of OpenOffice.
Because everybody hates Oracle.
Wasn't
right, that's what I mean. Wasn't it?
It was a licensing thing, wasn't it?
They had purchased OpenOffice, or they purchased Sun, and Sun owned OpenOffice. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Hey Google, Alexa, what happened to OpenOffice?
Okay, Google,
did it become LibreOffice.
Hey Siri.
I'm not going to go that way. I could totally talk to my phone and ask it, but I just don't want to.
Oh, by the way,
anyway, what?
While we're talking about Oracle, I don't know of anybody who still runs SE, Java SE, the Jerry environment. Anybody? No?
I don't know anyone that runs that.
Okay, well, they're talking about not posting any further updates to Java SE for public download sites after January 2019.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's okay. Nobody updates it anyway.
That's the Java Stupid Edition, right?
Yes, it is.
Aren't they all the Stupid Edition?
Only available for...
I got it. Okay. Support. So Sun Microsystems acquired Star Office Suite in 1999. In 2000, Sun open sourced Star Office, and it became OpenOffice.
Okay.
In 2011, Sun Microsystems was acquired by Oracle. In a deal with the devil,
right?
And they renamed proprietary Star Office Suite to Oracle OpenOffice because they're stupid. And then they immediately discontinued it because, again, stupid.
They're like, "What's this Office competitor? Like our MS Word? Turn it off."
Are you sure you want to save in that format?
And then the volunteers that were working on OpenOffice said, "Screw you! We're taking our toys and going home," and formed LibreOffice.
Is this exactly what happened in sequel?
Nate, you're breaking up. You're all sorts of
this is pretty much what happened to MySQL too.
Okay,
and OpenSSL. Oh no, that's different.
No, that's a totally
LibreSSL. Yeah, I'm making a poor joke.
LibreSSL is a we think OpenSSL is bad because it's only two guys doing it, and we're totally going to make a better one. And so now they have Libre.
3 guys, right?
And yeah, well, 3 guys is better than 2, right? Yeah. Come on.
They couldn't just contribute to OpenSSL. They have to make a whole rewrite.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Well, you have to take credit,
bitches.
Come
on. So I have 2 things to chat about. One is a new podcast I found because everybody needs another podcast. If you are challenged for time to listen to your podcasts, you should mute the show right now and not listen to what I'm about to say. So, Jason, that means you.
Hang on. Let me.
that means that, I should also leave.
A friend of mine mentioned this show to me. It's called Star Trek: The Next Conversation. And it's 2 guys who I've never heard of before, but apparently are known people.
They're real people? They're not robots?
No. I mean, they're people that are known for doing things. I just don't know what. I've only listened to like 2 episodes at this point. But anyway, they one of them is a complete Star Trek nerd. He knows like everything about every episode. And the other one has never watched Star Trek The Next Generation, like any of them. So what they do is every week they get together and they're watching an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation together. Or maybe they pre-watch it before the show starts. I don't know. I didn't listen to like episode 1 to find out what the whole premise was. But and then they review it. They talk about it. They talk about the show as it's transpiring on their podcast. And it's actually really cool because these guys know a thing or two about, like one of them I think is an actor and the other one is a writer. So they know something about how these shows are put together and how they're produced and everything. So they have some pretty interesting insights based on their knowledge of the industry. And some of the stuff that they say, and then like they give every show a rating, and they talk about like everything from camera angles to like how the acting was on a certain scene, and like it's just really cool. They objectively talk about even some of the worst episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. They try to find like the high points and low points of every single episode. It's pretty cool. If you like Star Trek, and I do, it's a pretty cool show to listen to. And the last episode I listened to was 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So that's why I'm saying if you don't have a lot of time to listen to these things, don't even try, because you might get hooked on it, and then you're going to have one more podcast in the stack to try to get through. So, yeah. It's like Security Weekly for Trek nerds. Anyway, it's a pretty cool show. And
also, Captain Picard is coming back, so, you know.
Yes, I heard.
Yeah, I keep hearing about this, but since I don't watch television, I don't have the details. Is that coming in as a new show?
I don't watch television, and I know it's.
I don't watch television either.
So,
yeah, well,
I mean,
I'm busy.
I don't even have a cable subscription.
Interwebs. He's going to be on a show of some sort.
Yeah,
and he might not be a captain anymore.
Yeah, I heard that there's going to be a show called like Picard.
Jean-Luc Flies Again.
Yeah. You're not serious, are you? That'd be a horrible name for a show.
That would be awesome.
Probably do well.
So the other thing I wanted to chat about, if we're done talking about Picard Flies Again, the Admin podcast that we've talked about before on our show a long while ago.
Hi guys.
They actually sent us some feedback, I think. Yeah, apparently they still listen to us, even though I had unfortunately stopped listening to them. I mean,
I'm still in
haven't had the time to listen to their show. I'm really sorry, guys, but
me too.
I just, for whatever reason, the feed for the Admin podcast had fallen out of my podcast app. Whether it was when I reinstalled my phone sometime, or I don't know. I just lost track of the show.
He flipped his phone upside down by accident, and that's the bits that fell out.
Do you see them falling out of there? They're falling right out. I just lost. Yeah.
Did you lose your AI there too?
On episode 65, they talked about our episode. I forget which episode it was now. I looked up their episode number and forgot about to look up ours. But the one where I talked about my Rev mishap, the episode we called "Don't Be Like Nate," where we talked about, first of all, we outlined what I had done wrong, and then we talked a little bit about how to sort of deal with screw-ups. And their episode was basically how to deal with screw-ups and how having a vendor to fall back on is sometimes useful, because that's sort of what we did to get around to fix the problem that we had. And it was a pretty good episode. They had some trouble understanding what it was that we talked about, which makes me wonder if we didn't cover it well enough, or if they had just skimmed through it like I generally do when I listen to things. So I did reach out to them to simply say, thanks for talking about our show on your show, and I let them know that we would return the favor, which is exactly what I'm doing now. And I told them that if they wanted, I would be willing to be on their show to talk about what it was that went wrong, to sort of get the facts straight if they want to, or even just have a crossover show. So maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. They're in the UK somewhere. They're like 5 or 6 hours ahead of us, so timing might be a big deal. I don't know how it's going to work out. If I know I didn't mention this to either of you guys, but if you guys are interested, we could try to work out if we can work all of our schedules together, including that crazy time zone gap. That would be like a feat, I think. So we'll see. Cool. Maybe it'll be a cross episode where all of us can somehow manage to bend time and space and get on the internets at the same time. So that'd be kind of cool. Maybe that'll come up. And if it does, I will be sure to let everybody know when it's happening.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Go check out the Admin podcast. They do some good stuff. I think
guys.
the last time we talked about them, we had sort of characterized them as a lower level. I don't know how to put this. They talk about some concepts that are things that we did 10 years ago. Like not from a technology advanced thing, but like from a career level thing, right? Like, so like when I was doing help desk, that was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, right? So now we've moved on to bigger things and we talk about the bigger things. They still touch on at least in the shows I remember listening to, they still have a focus on some of the lower level things, which we've almost forgotten about. I don't know, Jason, when's the last time you had to man a help desk? Yesterday, I had to install a printer. It sucked.
yeah, I'm at a startup, so that could happen a lot. Not. But on the plus side, turns out that printer drivers have gotten really easy. The computer kind of installs all that stuff by itself these days.
They have, but it seems like if your printer is old enough, your operating system ignores it and forgot about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
My printer up here, which is like a printer scanner copier, which I never intended to replace ever again because it works just fine. And the amount of printing and scanning that I do, I just don't need to have a state of the art thing. Mac OS is like, what the hell is that thing? I'm not using that. So
times, old man.
Yeah, right. I've gotten to the point where it's like, I have a device and you won't use it, you stupid.
Go and crank the handle on the printer. The job has been sent.
It's not that old. It's like 5 years old. It's not that old.
If it's CNC based.
As printers go, it's not that old. It's
time to upgrade, Grandpa.
It's old enough. It's old enough that Mac OS doesn't like it. So I guess I have to go buy a new shiny aluminum printer from Apple. Does Apple
aluminum?
Probably not.
They don't believe in paper.
I don't think Apple has sold printers in many.
Probably not. Probably not. All right. So, do we have anything else to chat about, or should we move along?
Move along. Nothing to see here.
Move along. So at this point, I have no idea how long the show's going on for. I was going to aim for an hour, but I forgot to start the timer at the beginning. So I think we're close to an hour. So that's it. Sorry, guys. Show's over.
So long.
So tonight, I thought we would talk a little bit about... So I was recently to a Red Hat event down in Philly where they had... It was basically a showcase for their OpenShift platform, OpenShift container platform,
cool.
Or Red Hat container platform, I think they're calling it now. But they had two tracks, a dev track and an ops track, because, DevOps. So of course,
where's the sec track?
Yeah, right. There was no sec track. There was a dev track and an ops track.
So
the premise of the thing was simply to not just show us a slide deck of what OpenShift is supposed to do, but actually let us sit down and get our hands on it. And it was really informative. Me and a coworker went down. We were going to have Charles actually was going to go down, but he had just recently gotten back from another trip, and he was just he wasn't feeling up to it. So we didn't get to see what was in the dev track, which is probably where he would have gone. We were both in the ops track, but we actually got to sit down, and they spun us up each our own little OpenStack or OpenShift environment on top of AWS, right? So they had just spun these things up automatically using Ansible or whatever. And then we got to try all these tasks, including provisioning and deprovisioning stuff using Ansible and setting up, they have this really cool thing they call container native storage, which builds Gluster, the Gluster storage service, into the OpenShift cluster, which is pretty awesome. It's like, you've heard the buzzword hyperconverged. That's exactly what this is. It makes Gluster run as a service on your OpenShift container platform, which is pretty awesome. It serves the cluster. It serves the storage right back to your containers, which solves the persistent storage problem that
so it's like a
containers have.
microservice for microservices?
Yeah, I mean, it's like crazy stuff, but it worked really well. So anyway, the point is, this was like our Red Hat account manager said, "Hey, there's a thing going on," and I went into it not really knowing what to expect. I expected a bunch of salespeople descending on us saying, "You should like Docker, you should do the containers, and you should put the stuff in the DevOps in the cloud, and here's our product, buy it." But it wasn't that. I didn't get a single sales pitch all day. And I got to sit down and get my hands on some technology that I'd been dying to really work with. And it was really, really beneficial. So I thought, all that to lead up to this, I thought we'd talk a little bit about the benefits of events like that and conferences, right? Not necessarily training. We could have a whole separate show about the value of training. I'm talking specifically about these either, day events or 2 or 3 day conferences where you can just go and learn about from talks from peers essentially. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to think about this leading up to tonight. I'm just kind of rambling on. I have another story to share, and then I thought maybe you guys might want to chip in something of your own. So Derbycon, I've been going to Derbycon, what are we at, 8 years now? I think this is the 8th, right? Derbycon 8's coming up.
Yep.
I've missed 1 year, which I will eternally regret. So I've been to 6 Derbycons at this point. I will be at my 7th this year. And I'm a sysadmin, right? So I don't have much of a security role in my job, at least not in my job description. It's sort of baked in, right? Because if you're a sysadmin, it pays to think about security. But you might say I have no business being a...
It pays.
It pays. You might say I've got no business being a security conference like Derbycon or Black Hat or DEF CON or whatever, right? But I went on a whim the first time because Jason had an extra ticket, and I just kind of went to see what it was all about. And I've been back every year I could make it simply because I saw value in learning what the bad guys are up to. And that paid off this past year because we had... I should say just a couple months ago, because we had a problem we were trying to work through where we have this old Samba 3 domain, which is basically emulating an NT4 domain. And we're trying to move to Active Directory because that thing has to go away. And it's either build it on Samba 4 or build Active Directory. So whatever. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds there about the decision process and whatever, because,
put it in the cloud.
Active Directory is a bad word.
Put it in the cloud.
Put it in the cloud. Right.
Azure.
So
Run
we got
Samba on Azure. That would be ironic.
We got everything all set up and ready to go. We had the new Active Directory set up, and we had servers built, and we're figuring out backups and redundancy, and we're figuring out how the logins work. And we're figuring out how to get it into our network access control system, and all that's going really well. We're making all this progress, and then in one of our meetings, we're like, so what are we doing about passwords? And the room just kind of went silent because nobody had figured this out yet. Nobody had figured out how are we going to get passwords from our Samba domain into the Active Directory domain. Oh, well, did we force everyone to reset? No, that's not going to go over well, and it's a bad time to do that, and this and that. Well, we were thinking about implementing a new password policy. Maybe we make everybody reassert and verify that they meet the new password policy, and if they don't, they have to change their password anyway. Oh, well, yeah, but that's still a couple months in the making, and we can't do that in time for Active Directory.
It didn't work that great last time anyway.
Yeah, it didn't. There were all these excuses as to why we couldn't make people go to a form and put in their password or change their password. And to be honest, having your IT group ask your users to go put their password into a form is kind of hokey to begin with, right? So what we really wanted to do was move the passwords from the old domain to the new domain. And I mean, there's upgrade paths that get you from NT4 to Windows 2000, right? So, and that's Active Directory. So we figured there must be a way to do this, but we couldn't find anything. We had vendors involved. We asked them how to do it, and they're like, "Oh, well, we could take your NT4 or NTLM hashes and we could throw them into cracking software, and you might get like 70% of them." I'm like, well, that's not cool.
You can leverage the cloud for that.
Like, that's not good enough, right? So I remembered
I know this guy.
Yes, exactly.
Way more than 70%.
I remembered having sat in a talk at Derbycon with, I believe he's one of the authors or maybe the author of Hashcat. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I believe he is the author or one of the authors.
I believe he's the author.
He's the author of Hashcat.
I second that.
Maybe we're giving him credit where he doesn't deserve it, but he's also the guy that broke DEFCON. One of the guys that broke DEFCON.
He is
anyway, I remember
the author of Hashcat.
He's not?
According
really?
To... No, according to...
He's just an avid user.
Though, he's not.
Oh, I thought he was... Oh, okay.
Okay, so he's not the author of Hashcat. He is a guy I remember sitting in a talk about Hashcat right? And about password cracking and how he was doing this at a place that he worked, and he still does it today for a place he works now. But anyway, I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, I saw a talk of yours." And I mean, we've chatted with this guy. We've seen him dressed in drag. He's a cool guy.
Many times.
We hung out.
He's a cool guy.
We hung out on the roof of the parking deck, or the top of the parking deck at the Hyatt for Derbycon, when that supermoon or whatever was going on. Wasn't it supermoon or an eclipse? I don't remember anymore.
The blood moon, wasn't it?
Blood moon, might have been blood moon. Anyway, we've met this guy. I've chatted with him. He knows who I am. I know who he is. So anyway, I went and chatted with him. I'm like, "Hey, I remember you talking about cracking NTLM hashes. What can you tell me about getting NTLM hashes into Active Directory?" And he and I chatted for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And he's like, "Oh, well, we could crack them. You could pay the people I work for to crack them because we have, big compute that would do it faster. But you'll probably, the 70% number is probably pretty spot on. You're not going to get all of them." And then he and I chatted more and more and more. It's like, "Hey, I know this tool so like, you're not supposed to be able to do this, but I know this tool that can directly write the hash in Active Directory. And
That's cool.
If you write the NTLM hash in, Active Directory will use it, right? Because it knows how to talk NTLM. It knows how to decode, or not decode. It knows how to hash to NTLM.
Sure.
Interpret NTLM. I'm like, "Awesome. What's the name of the tool?" And he gives me the name, and he's like, "And if it doesn't work right, here's the author. You can write him." I'm like, "Oh, awesome. So this is great." So I sent the tool off to our identity people, and I said, "Hey, I got it on good authority that this is going to solve our problem." And in 20 minutes, they were importing hashes into Active Directory. So it's like, yeah, I've been going to this security conference for years that's not quite directly related to my job. It just saved our ass. I mean, flat out. I don't know what we would have done if we wouldn't have come across that, because nobody had any ideas. Maybe there were ideas. I don't know. But those ideas were things like, "Oh, well, let's hand them off to our vendor and let them start cracking." Like that. That was not a great solution. Never was. So anyway, yeah, and I've got a number of stories from like Red Hat Summit that are similar, where it's like I got to see new software, I got to see new products, whatever. Those are pretty cool. So you guys have similar stories from any conferences or vendor shows or whatever you've been to? And I don't mean that one where you got drunk at the Sands, Jason.
I must say, I don't.
I mean,
I don't remember that night.
I vaguely remember what you're talking about. Maybe.
Hey, remember that social mixer we met? I remember a lot of it.
Do I have vendor stuff?
Not just vendor, but the conference stories, where
conference.
A connection you made or a talk you saw had really opened up a door for you.
It opened up well, I mean,
not like opportunity. I mean, like it turned on a light bulb. It gave you an idea, or it helped you solve a problem, or whatever.
Sure. So I mean, that was my first Derbycon. I watched a talk about blue teaming that turned into the Skynet software that I wrote.
Oh, right.
That works. That I've been working on today actually, for doing baseline scanning.
Do you have that stuff in containers yet? You totally should.
In my spare time, I've been getting there.
Sure.
And by spare time, I mean, dear God, no time to do anything. But I'm working on that. I mean, but I go to the cons and I have met. I've probably gained more in networking and knowing people than anything. It's been absolutely worth it. So, Derbycon is like the first one I really went to. There I met Quadling and Kick Froggy, and
right.
I'm on staff for B-Sides Delaware now. So I've been working with them. I went to Hope for the first time this year, which was an interesting experience. We met
Interesting.
we met Jason Scott through Derbycon.
Oh man, nice. I mean, if you guys ever get a chance to chat with Jason Scott, I mean, just like in a hallway at a hotel, at a conference or whatever, do it.
He doesn't he only goes to conferences that he's invited to anymore. Like they specifically ask him to talk. Something about, I had a heart attack and I'm doing other things now, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah, no, he's definitely missed. He's missed at Derbycon. I wish he was still coming, but you got to put your health first.
Yep,
you got to put your health first.
So yeah, I mean, I look, there's, depending on the conferences. So if you go to the big name conferences, right, you start looking at like Black Hat or like the O'Reilly conferences or stuff like that, you're looking at like thousands of dollars for tickets, and right. it's a little bit on the ridiculous side. Derbycon is, what was it, $175 this year?
Yeah, that is still ridiculously affordable.
And that's a 3-day conference. B-Sides
training tickets are like $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you'd expect. The trainer, I assume, gets paid, and
and actually, those trainings are significantly low cost compared to other training.
Oh yeah. My RHCE training was like $4,000 for a week.
Yeah, and
that didn't include the freaking exam.
5,000.
Yeah.
Don't ever get your CEH, guys.
But then you have you can go not down, but I mean you go to conferences like B-Sides. B-Sides Delaware charged for the first time this past year. We've never charged for the conference before,
and it was like $10 or something, wasn't it?
$10 for 2 days. Yep.
Yeah,
$10.
It was ridiculously cheap.
And other conferences,
that was like to cover the cost of shirts or something, wasn't it? I don't remember now.
Yep. And I think B-Sides DC is I want to say it's cheap. It's like $25 or something. I don't know. The B-Sides conferences, I mean, these are security conferences, but they're low cost on purpose. They're intended to be all inclusive. Like I think Vegas probably costs like $100 or $200 or something. I haven't been there. I don't know, but they also rent like a mansion. So like, it's insane.
B-Sides Delaware, I had a pretty good experience. I've only been there twice. And I mean, this isn't just to talk it up because you're on the show, Jason. I know you're on the board, but I love taking my daughter there. She's going to be 8 this year. In fact, in a few days. And she just loves going there because she can tinker with electronics. She can learn to lockpick. I mean, these are things that you're not going to learn elsewhere. And all of the staff and all of the speakers and all of the participants are like, oh, look, a little girl with lockpicks. This is awesome. I'm going to help you learn to lockpick. Not like, what are you doing here, kid?
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
I mean,
very family-oriented.
I took my son there for the first B-Sides that I had gone to because I went the first day and I was talking to people and mentioned that I had kids and they're like, well, why aren't they here? And I went, I don't know, because I didn't know that was allowed. And he's been going ever since. And this year he's running the Spawn Camp.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Spawn Camp, by the way, is their kids activities. Yep. If anybody doesn't know what Spawn Camp is, think about it. They're spawns, right?
Yep.
Not like comic book Spawn. That'd be awesome. No, that'd be scary.
Awesome and scary.
That'd be awesome.
I'm just picturing a toddler with the freaking Spawn suit. That's hell right there. Anyway, so yeah, I mean the B-Sides are pretty cool. Well, I don't know about other B-Sides. I've only been to B-Sides Delaware. I don't know if they're all that cool, but yeah, there are certain conferences like I've heard some pretty nasty stories about DEF CON that it's definitely not a place for kids. However, we know people who take their kids, so I guess if you're careful, or maybe the stories are overblown. I just don't know.
They actually have a kids track called Roots.
Yeah.
So it's, it is kid friendly these days. When
Okay. Maybe it used to not be
so
then.
much. No, I would say no. But
Okay.
now it's relatively kid friendly.
Cool. So Dustin, you got anything?
Yeah. Up until I started getting involved with Derbycon and B-Sides, thanks to Jason exposing that world to me. The only other security conferences I was ever to were Secure World, when I was working for a partner that was affiliated with somebody that was there, which was like one of those conferences. You meet people. Hey, we have this product. Here's a million different freebies. Go home. Enjoy lunch.
Right.
And it really isn't have any value add other than to talk to people about buying products, right? I don't think you really have any. VendorCon, exactly. Outside of that, I've been to a lot of Cisco Tech Days back when Cisco Tech Days were awesome and weren't all about Meraki. Back when you could actually talk to an engineer in the area. Jason laughs. It's true. You could talk to a tech, right? There's this guy from Lancaster. I won't mention his name. He's been with Cisco a long time, as in their wireless side. Had a couple presentations. This is like 5 years ago, maybe more. I don't know. I'm getting old. And I used to actually be able to talk to him even outside.
What are you, like 22?
Come on, I wish. I'm getting in the 3 decades here soon. Jesus.
Okay, you're 24. All right.
3 decades. You're just gonna fall over and turn to dust.
I know. I'm already losing hair. What am I going to look like in another 10 years? Well, probably unrecognizable.
We'll get you a cane.
Thank you. Yes, and some Rogaine.
I think I have one in my closet here. You want a cane?
All right, sure. Give me a walker too. Make sure it has a horn.
Honk honk. And a bell.
Honk honk. No, but in all seriousness, there were a lot of big, company-based, or I should say sponsored conferences that have now evolved because, businesses evolved. There's more important things like revenue versus education, and it's sad. So, I started getting really bored, and I was really, looking into getting in the security industry, and I didn't really have a good chance of getting into the security industry. When I worked for an MSP, I was promised to do something, and then I ended up doing firewalls and other ticket-related things and projects and things I didn't want to do. So with that, I was brought into, oh, hey, let's get your CEH. That'll be a goal. You'll be able to, get an increase in your salary, and we'll open you up to more trainings, this and that. Well, I got the CEH. The training was great. The conference was a joke. I didn't even attend the conference because it was another VendorCon. It was a joke. And the certification testing that was included with it, which we're not talking about testing tonight, but it was included with the conference training, in a conference, was a joke. It didn't assess a lot of the things I learned. It was more foundational. I was not very impressed with the CEH certification. But that's a discussion for another day. So outside of the conferences I've been attending, I never really found good value after a lot of the education-based conferences evolved into other offerings. When I went to my first Derbycon, it was awesome. You, myself, Jason, a few others built an on-site derby. We won. That was pretty cool. That was awesome.
We got interviewed on Hack 5, man.
That was an
Your
awesome
first year. Derbycon.
First Derbycon.
The first time I met you, we built a freaking derby together, and we end up on Hack 5. Now, come on.
It's freaking awesome. Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Both of us. You won with your derby. We won with the other one. I mean, it was awesome.
We swept the Hack Your Derby contest, and we got interviewed by Hack 5. Come on.
We did.
They can't top that. Oh, wait,
unreal.
we could run the Hack Your Derby contest.
Oh, wait.
Maybe that's going to happen this year.
Yeah, maybe if we get accepted. No. But
listen, Dave, I know you're listening.
Yeah, come on, Dave. Cue in here, Relic. Let's go. No. Yeah, so that was cool. And that was fun in itself because, I was primarily, prior to working with Jason at the organization that I used to work with him at, I'm actually back at the organization now. I didn't have a lot of exposure outside of what I had to maintain and work with. Yes, the big players would get involved and offer all these great solutions, and I'd have to really spend the time evaluating to understanding it. But I was still in that quote unquote proprietary world. So it wasn't until we worked on that project together, got to meet and talk with people, even talking to people who've written tools that I knew of or have like learned a little bit on how to use. It was cool, like meeting Egypt for the first time. Like that was so cool.
Did you get to play chess with him?
No, we were going to, and he was done. I guess he was playing chess all day, and he's like, "No, we'll play later," and we never did. It's okay. Maybe I'll get him this year. But even just a couple minutes of talking to him and just talking to people in the industry, it was fun. And like I said, I never really was a true security person, but the culmination of Jason getting me involved with stuff, working with him, working on the project with you guys, it really opened my mind to other things. And the following year, we were working towards the CTF. I mean, I can't really say we. It was more not CTF. Sorry, attack derbies. It wasn't really me. It was as being involved with mostly Nate doing most of the work. I kind of put the foundation of the wireless control service together, but
you guys were busy.
Close.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it stunk. But even that was fun. I learned a lot about Python that I never knew. And to say today, oh, I know Python. I know of Python. I haven't really done anything in Python as much as I used to.
Just Python is. It's a snake, right? Some kind of snake.
Yeah, it's a language that doesn't bite. That was my tagline for a while on Twitter because I thought it was great. I thought it was so clever because I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience compared to learning Visual Basic and things like that. And I know I'm going off track, so let me backtrack. Or let me go back to my statement. Yes, you don't have to be a security professional to go to a security conference. It's beneficial. You can learn a lot from it. I've didn't get a chance to really stay in the lockpicking village and be educated on lockpicking, but I bought lockpicks.
It's always so busy there.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. And there's a lot of talks that are good. Like for example, Nate and I got to meet. Why can't I think of his name? I could see his face right now. Paul Astadorian.
All right.
So we had
maybe you did. I didn't really get to meet him. I got to see his talk. We didn't really get to chat with him.
Oh no, we were at his booth, weren't we? Or was that when I was buying glasses? I forget.
That might have been you. I wanted to chat with him, and I didn't get a chance to.
Damn. Okay. Well, anyways, it's cool to meet people that either you listen to or have people who've contributed projects and talk to their perspective, and just networking. Networking is huge in any industry, not even just in the, and I hate to say this, the information technology sector, which is many subjects. Networking with people is great. It opens your gateways of communication up with different avenues to help yourself, help others, maybe learn something new, and you can't go wrong. Even if you just go to a conference just to talk with people, that's cool too. I mean, if that's what you're after to get something out of it in that realm, it can be beneficial. If you're looking to go to talks and learn about WPA3 and how it's going to fix the world's problems, or recently talking about WPA2 being able to crack without having to do the 4-way handshake. Like it's cool to understand the stuff, because then you can apply that in your own realm, whether it be in your own lab, home lab, or in your place of work. So you don't have to necessarily go to a fancy conference. I shouldn't say fancy, a widely known conference to get a lot of this value. You can go to a small conference, any size conference. If it's a conference and it's a well-run conference, it's not VendorCon, you can get a lot out of it. Even B-sides, love B-sides. I've only been there, I think last year was my second year. Yeah, second year. Volunteered this year. Or did I volunteer last year too? I think I did, both years. I forget. Did photography this year. I don't think I did that great. Anyways, that's just me beating myself up. But even that conference, it's very family oriented, but you can still talk with people. And I had a long conversation with this one guy from a big financial company I won't mention, about their security startup. And I wasn't interested in what they had to offer. Wasn't interested in the company that was backing them, by sure. But just having the conversation with the guy was interesting, because he gave a perspective that I didn't have in an industry, and it was valuable. Even just volunteering. You don't have to go to a conference and what am I saying? You can go to a conference, you can participate at a conference, you can volunteer to be part of a conference. Whatever avenue you want to take, you will still benefit from it. People always say giving back to the community. You can give back to the community without even participating. Donating money for whatever cause is going on. At the time last year with Puerto Rico, they still need money because of it still being ridiculous down there.
That's insane. It's almost a year. A year.
It's disgusting. But let's throw more paper towels. Let's do that because that fixes things. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get political.
So without getting too far off track, one of the things that I love most about Derbycon, and I haven't necessarily seen it at every conference I've been to, but at Derbycon, everybody seems very approachable. Everyone seems you could go out to dinner with like anybody. I mean, Jason, you remember the first year we were at Derbycon, and the conference is over, right? It's Sunday night. No, was it the first year? No, it was Saturday night, wasn't it? Because we left after the conference.
We were dropping Champagne Zero days with HD.
We're having dinner. We're having dinner at a Persian restaurant in Louisville with HD Moore, who was like the author of Metasploit, right?
Yep.
One of the authors.
Yep. One of them.
Who actually had a freaking keynote that year at Derbycon. Him, Jack Daniel. Who else was there? One of the hosts of the ISD podcast at the time. Karthik, wasn't it Karthik? He was there?
Yeah, Karthik, I think it was there.
The guy who runs the Pen2 project.
Rick. Yep,
yeah.
Zero Chaos.
Wait, is it Rick? Yeah, Zero Chaos. And we're just like hanging out. HD Moore gave us freaking champagne. He gave me and Jason champagne. Cool. Like, to me, and then we're walking through the streets of Louisville, and HD Moore is talking to us about this cool little thing he got for his iPhone that he could clone credit cards with. I'm like,
just in case you need a backup. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like the point of it was one of these. Remember when coin and stuff were big, right? It was like you could take this electronic credit card and you could take your credit card and you would clone it onto that credit card, and then you could carry one card around. It was an earlier version of that. It was like this case that fit on your iPhone, and there was an app on your phone where you could write different credit cards to the stand-in card, and then you could scan
Bluetooth.
No, it was like USB, if I remember correctly.
Wow, interesting.
And
it was a case. So the case slipped on the phone. So it was over the proprietary connector, but yeah. And then the card went in the case, and it had there were a bunch of features. One is that you could clone cards. The other one is that it had a e-ink display on it that allowed you to display like barcodes.
Right. And so like he's showing us this thing as we're walking through Louisville. It's like freaking HD Moore. Right? I got to stand within a couple feet of Kevin Mitnick. I didn't actually get to chat with him because like everybody wanted to chat with Kevin Mitnick. But like these are all cool experiences that I don't know that you could have got at bigger conferences because Derbycon keeps their admission smaller.
Yeah.
So
and like, you bring up a good point about approaching people. Like it's funny, you look at a HackerCon or any type of conference that has our similar mindset people, and yes, some go crazy, some, but it's never like too out of hand. And the other side of it is people who just want to have intellectual interactions. They'll stay up, late just as anybody else would be drinking or partying, and just want to play chess all night or want to talk about something.
Hang out in the lobby.
Just hang out. Yeah, and you don't even have to know these people. It's great. You can just be like, oh yeah, I'm this and that, and I know you because of this, or I don't know you. How are you? Oh, I'm good. Let's go play a prank on somebody, or let's get caught for stealing something that we didn't actually steal. I mean, things like that. It's a lot of fun.
That's not something that I
missed a story somewhere.
Oh wait, yeah. Well, make it quick. Last year, there's this big Derbycon banner. Yeah,
I remember now. Yeah, gotcha.
Right, I remember the story now. Yeah.
Me and another guy were, I don't know, we were just chasing each other for some reason. I think we took somebody's hat or something, and we were screwing with somebody. I think that's what it was. And eventually, at the same time, this other group of people that were also a part of a vendor, I can't say and won't say, stole the big Derbycon flag banner that was hanging from the center of the Hyatt. So when they ran, we were also running on another floor, and security thought that we were them. So they stopped us and said, "Hey, you guys stole the banner." And we said, "No, we didn't. I don't know what you're talking about." They're like, "Don't play games." I'm like, "No, really, we didn't." Then there was that one guy on the same security team that said, "No, it's not them." I was like, "Thank you. We stole somebody's hat. We didn't steal the banner. We were just screwing with somebody else." So that was fun, getting mixed up into that.
That guy.
Yeah. Anyways,
so this is sort of turned into a reminiscing about Derbycon episode, I suppose.
Sorry.
And maybe it's not as important to all the listeners, but yeah,
full disclaimer, I am very tired.
Yeah, the point here is that you can make a lot of connections and you can learn a lot of interesting things.
Yes,
just chatting with folks at conferences,
Indeed.
and vendor showcases and vendor events aren't always what you might think. They're not always just a sales pitch. Sometimes they're actually useful. And in fact, I think I've been to 2 Red Hat events now that have been more than just a sales pitch. There was another one we went to about Ansible, which I think I talked about on the show at one point, where I actually got to sit down and tinker with Ansible for a day, which was pretty cool. I would definitely do that again. So yeah, I mean, unless you guys have anything more useful to share, I think we may wrap up the episode for tonight. We've gone on long enough, I think. It's been like an hour and a half, maybe. Yeah.
I have nothing else to add, otherwise I'll keep yammering.
Yammer, yammer, yammer. That's why we have
you yammer all night. But I'm not the Microsoft product. I'm my own product.
I gotta go do upgrades. So
upgrades. What do you think you are, a sysadmin?
I've got enough beer in me now. It should work out all right.
Absolutely. I finished my second beer, so the podcast has to be over because I didn't bring a third one up with me.
I'm out of water.
Out of water. All right, so we're going to go with the usual closing comments. I have finally fixed the redirects on ironsysadmin.com that will get you to our YouTube and Slack channels. If you go to ironsysadmin.com/YouTube, it'll get you to our YouTube channel instead of the crazy URL that YouTube has forced us to use because we don't have enough subscribers. By the way, go subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can get a custom URL.
We could buy subscribers.
We could. Our Slack workspace, you can get to it at ironsysadmin.com/Slack, which we will never, it's not the way it's supposed to work. If you go there, it'll take you to an invite link, which is open forever. So if you want to join our Slack workspace, we got a number of people in there, a number of professionals within the industry, and maybe not so professionals within the industry, who just want to sort of hang out and chat about IT and chat about systems and chat about the podcast and whatever. It's a great way to reach out to us if you want to. You can also reach out to us via email. Podcast@ironsysadmin.com should still, at the very least, get to me and Jason. I don't know if I ever added Dustin to that. I don't know if I'll add Charles to that. Maybe I will.
Maybe. Hey, that would be...
Maybe I will. I'm including links in the show notes to our Facebook and Twitter profiles. I guess Facebook is more like a page and Twitter is more like a profile. They're pretty easy to find. Facebook.com/ironsysadmin and Twitter.com/ironsysadmin. And last but not least, if you like what we do and you want to help support us doing it, which mainly goes to paying for S3 storage, and if we have enough left over, maybe beer. Jason and Dustin are going to say, I never got money for beer. That's because we never have enough money left over. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/ironsysadmin. Currently, I'm spending like $25 a month to host our shows on S3, so you guys can download them faster than you could over my connection here at home, which is where they used to be hosted. And we're making about $17 or $18 a month. No, $9 or $10 a month. It actually went down. We lost the patron. Womp womp. So yeah, we're not making nearly enough to cover it. And that's okay for now, but it'd be nice if we could cover that with the Patreon funds at least, and maybe get some beer. We like beer, guys. We like beer, except Dustin, who's drinking water.
I love beer.
All right, I think that covers all the ads for the day. We try to put them at the end so they don't bother you. Maybe we'll put them at the beginning, and we'll get more Patreon subscribers and YouTube.
Maybe we should do it in the middle, like YouTube.
In the middle, like YouTube. Yeah, right in the middle. Just like, now it's time for a commercial break, because you weren't in the middle of watching that show, were you?
You weren't mid-sentence, no.
Yeah, right. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we will. Maybe we'll, maybe that's a threat. If you guys don't start supporting us on Patreon, we're going to start putting the ad in the middle of the show during the chat section. Jason will be mid-sentence, and I'll just go, hey, wait. Patreon. Anyway, I think we're done for the night, folks. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the show. We will see you in... Oh, right. Our schedule. In case you missed it, our schedule is now the 2nd and 4th, correct? The 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month. So
I thought it was the 2nd and 5th.
2nd and 4th. There's no 5th. Well, there might be some 5th Wednesdays, I guess. There's not always a 5th Wednesday. We can't do that.
That's a joke. Sorry.
See that? That's it. It'd be like leap year. Some weeks, some months you would get 2 episodes. Some weeks
you get a quarter podcast.
Quarter podcast. every month you'll get a quarter of a podcast. Yes, the 2nd and 4th. We're going to shoot for about 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights. 2nd and 4th Wednesday every night. So please tune in, subscribe, and hit that bell on YouTube, and you will know when we go live. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'm going to stop. Oh, somebody put a picture of Evil Mog dressed in drag. And Renderman with his pimp outfit. Awesome. In Slack. See what you guys miss out by not being in the Slack workspace. You see what you're missing out on.
You're just not going to mention Stacy? Stacy was there too.
Oh, yeah, Stacy's there too. But she's not in a pimp outfit or her non-outfit. So, I mean, whatever.
This is true.
All right. I think we're done for tonight, folks. Good night.
Good night, all.
All right, we had nobody that I'm aware of tune in for YouTube, so I'm not going to thank any of you. So if you're watching this later, thank you for watching later. But you should have tuned in live.
Thank you for the view.
Yes. All right, we're going to stop the broadcast.
The least you could do is subscribe.
The least you could do is subscribe and hit the bell, and then you'll know when we're live, and then you can watch.
God, I feel like every other YouTube channel. Oh, like and hit the bell. You know the little bell.
You have no idea what work it is to try to get subscribers on YouTube.
I'll help you out.
You'll help. Okay, you'll go subscribe. You mean you're going to make a bunch of fake accounts to subscribe?
No.
No, not at all. I wouldn't do that live on YouTube. All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast. Thanks, guys, for watching. If you're watching after the fact, we love you. Good night.